This podcast contains discussions of mature themes, including violence, which may not be suitable for all audiences. Please proceed with caution. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome everybody to Dark Talk, a special bonus episode. I am your host Dan, and I'm here with my best friend, the man who guides me through Japanese culture, the self-proclaimed captain of the B team, Danger Mark. Mark, how is it going?
Not too bad, not too bad. Glad to be back.
Good to be back for another mad Japanese film.
Indeed. It's certainly not a particularly sensible one.
It's not, is it? It's not. We're here tonight covering Samurai Commando, Mission 1549. Had you ever seen this before?
I had not, no. I must confess, I did find myself doing... Well, I knew a little bit of the history of some of the people mentioned in this going in, but I did need a quick scan to just refresh my memory of the dates involved. And, well, we'll get to this.
So when you say history of the people involved, do you mean the cast, or do you mean some of the characters?
I mean the characters. I mean some of the characters.
Not going to lie, I went for a quick scan of who certain people were supposed to be after I watched the film and when I was typing on my note. Yeah, this was a first watch for me, although I had been aching to watch this film for the past 20 years. It came out in 2005, and I remember seeing it in a HMV way back in the day, and I thought, that looks amazing, and yeah, never got round to it. Anytime I would thought about watching it, I thought, it's probably not going to be very good. It's probably just going to be quite a low-budget asylum type film, but yeah, decided to do it for this podcast because we need a mad film to follow on from Versus.
It's certainly that. I don't.
Yeah, well, let's get into this one then. So we open up at this Command and Conquer style experiment where this battalion of military units get enveloped in this bright white light and electrical field. They're basically testing out their new chronosphere equipment, and for some reason they're traveling into the past using this time vortex. Now, is this their plan? Do they intentionally go into the past, or are they just going to see what this black hole thing is all about?
I don't think so. No, I think they're trying to do something, but they're not quite sure what they're going to do. And I think they only find out the implications of what they've done slightly later.
When they open their eyes and see this like swarm of samurai on horseback charging towards them.
I was just thinking, Kanzaki, you fool, which I think is a recurring theme throughout this film.
So the units inside the force field, they have been transported back in time to the year 1547 is this feudal Japan?
Yes, so this is pre-unification. So this is during what is called the Sengoku Jidai, which is the Warring States period, when the country nominally had a shogun who was ruling or running the country in the name of the emperor, but it was very much a time of regional lords who were starting to flex their muscles.
So kind of like how England used to be when they had lords and barons that they were under the king, but they had a lot of power and the king had to rely on them not to be shitheads.
Yes, but instead of relying on them to fight the Scottish, like the King of England had to do, or the Welsh, there wasn't really that kind of external enemy on the island that they really needed to fight too much. There were the Ainu up in the north, who were very much not integrated with Japanese society, but they, as far as I know, didn't fight the armies of the emperor quite as much as the Scottish ever did.
But I'll tell you who the Japanese do need to be worried about invading is the military of the future.
Yes. They've...
So the unit is attacked by this army of samurai warriors on horseback, because I would too. If I was a samurai back in feudal Japan and I saw these, like, if I saw tanks and helicopters flying around, I would shit myself, and then I would just get my arrows and sword and charge them.
This plan actually does work reasonably well. People stick their heads out of the tanks and then get arrows through the throat and then regret everything they ever did for all eternity.
Yeah, this film, it pretty much starts balls to the wall. We get, like, it's instant chaos. It's like the helicopters and tanks are just returning fire. There's, like, horses blowing up. And that is where we get the title card, which it was subtitled for me, Warring States 1549.
Well, yeah, Warring States is the kind of direct translation of Sengoku Jidai. So so
is Samurai Commando just the Western title?
I think it's slightly different. I'm seeing Sengoku Jidai. I think it's a slightly different word. The Jidai is the JSSDF, not JSSDF. That's me having
and that's
watched
the Japanese army, right?
Well, it stands for Self-Defense Force because, strictly speaking, they are, until relatively recently, they were not allowed to have an army under the terms of the surrender from the Second World War, although that has since expired, and they are allowed to have an army now, but they continue to have a self-defense force instead. So
it's an actual self-defense force, not like the Israeli defense force.
Yeah, the Israeli defense force has, shall we say, a very, very muscular view on what self-defense actually is. So yeah, the title basically means Warring States self-defense force. So Samurai Commando is actually, it's not word for word, but it's a pretty good one.
It makes sense to, like, an 18-year-old me picking up the DVD and looking at it thinking, fucking hell, Samurai Commando, I better stick this on.
Yeah.
In 20 years' time.
Here we are finally with the means to inflict our thoughts upon the world.
So in the future, or the present, it is 2 years later, and we meet former Army Lieutenant Kashima, who now runs a restaurant. And so Kashima gets a visit from two suits who initially identify themselves as being from the health department, but turns out that they are from the army. And the female is Kanzaki. Is she a scientist, like a military scientist?
Yes. She's the one who's determined to make the experiment work in the beginning, and the operation was a success, but the patient died.
So Kanzaki explains that Kashima's old mentor in the army, Colonel Matoba, was transported 500 years into the past during that mess that we saw in the opening, and he and his unit are trapped. Now,
we'll find out how true that is.
Now, Matoba's presence in the past is having an adverse effect on the present. So that gigantic black hole that they went into...
well, it was a small black hole when they went into it. 2 years later, it is not a small black hole anymore.
It is not. No. So they mentioned it was the size of an egg when it started, and it's gotten bigger. Matoba went in there. And now, because he's stuck in the past, and they don't know what he's doing, but they know he's fucking around doing stuff.
Well, whatever he's doing can't be good, because him being there with a platoon, an entire mechanized platoon with it. No, he doesn't have the air support at this point, but he's got that in the past, and no matter what's happened, it can't be good.
So, you're gonna get scientists in Japan in the 1990s or in the 20th century, and they're gonna be digging up fossilized chopper blades and gun turrets and shit. Thinking, what the hell is going on here?
Well, I think that's the rationalization of the black hole, the fact that the world hasn't caught up with the fact that they've changed the timeline, and instead of it changing every single thing that ever happened afterwards, it's just causing a black hole instead.
Yeah, I mean it's what we deserve, basically. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we deserve that on general principle, and not because we sent a platoon into the past.
So the black hole has now become this gigantic swirling vortex that is sucking things in, and they need to extract Matoba post haste because Japan will be destroyed otherwise. This dude is just not just Japan, the entire world.
Oh God, the colonel, the other colonel.
Oh, the major. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, the major. My bad.
Yeah, he's such a dork, this dude.
Yeah, his job is purely to say every stupid thing that somebody needs to say.
His job is just to say no. People come up with this great plan, and Kashima's right, we need to do this. I'm a consultant. This is why I'm here. And he's like, nah, we're following my orders, mate. We're just going to bunker down here for a bit. I did enjoy... I wasn't sure whether they were going at this point with Colonel Matoba. I was getting a real Colonel Kurtz, Marlon Brando, Apocalypse Now vibe from him. He's gone into the heart of darkness and has gone native, basically. And that's the vibe I was getting here. But I wasn't sure if that's what they were going for at this point, because there was still the option of rescue rescue, quote unquote.
They're very much still talking in terms of rescue at this point, yeah.
So they form Operation Romeo, which they want Kashima to join them. Kashima's reluctant to accept the mission at first because he owns a restaurant, and if The Sopranos has taught me anything, it's that running a restaurant is financially impossible and will literally take up all of your available time. So he's a bit busy with that, doesn't want to get involved, but so he goes back home to work. Now, outside his restaurant, Kashima is visited by a mysterious dude who talks in riddles and says a bunch of mysterious shit about disappearing and talks very philosophical. So this is, how do you pronounce his name?
Shichibei.
I was practicing it when I was watching the film, but then just looking at it written down now,
Yep.
I have panicked and I had to ask you. So Shichibei is a samurai from the past that was accidentally transported to the future.
Complete with the hair.
Been here, complete with the hair, complete with a bunch of arrows from the past that were lodged in his body as he was knocked out on the horse.
Oh yes, but at this point he's wearing a white shirt and jeans, as I recall, or a shirt, or like proper suit. He's very smartly dressed.
He's been here for 2 years now. You know, he's been trapped in the present for 2 years. So what do you think he's been up to those 2 years?
Well, I think for a significant portion of that, he would have been in hospital
and under interrogation, probably.
Yeah.
I think he's been on an airplane, or do you think he went to a McDonald's or anything like that? What the hell is this?
I'm going to guess McDonald's, yes. Aeroplane, no.
He seems quite enamored with the future later on in the film. He's like, this is the future that we need when...
the world of peace. Yeah, a world of peace is how he refers to it.
So that would imply that 2005 of this film is in an alternate universe to ours, because we do not live in a world of peace.
Yes, but... Japan in 2005 was certainly more peaceful than Japan of 1547.
So Shichibei's words stir something in Kashima, who returns to the time portal area, and he agrees to the mission. So he joins Operation Romeo, and we see Operation Romeo kitting up, and they're given these biodegradable cellulose bullets so as not to leave any trace of themselves in the past.
Which also have the side effect of not being able to hurt a fly.
It's like the guns from Starship Troopers that don't do any damage to the bugs, you know? They're just like...
Except they've been very much designed not to do any damage because they don't want to harm anybody. Because if they harm anyone, that's going to cause chaos in the future.
I mean, I think it's a bit late for that because they've just mentioned previously that they've got a murderous colonel rampaging around with tanks and helicopters for 2 years in the past.
Yeah, at this point, it's become clear that the colonel has survived the 2 years, and that time seems to have been moving forward in the past at the same rate it has been in the present.
Yeah, so when the colonel landed in the past, it was 1547, and it is now 1549, as the title implies.
In the past.
Yeah,
let's go with that.
Which is odd because, I don't know if time travel doesn't work, but that's not usually how it works in fiction, is it? So from any point in the future, you can jump back to any point in the past. The timelines don't run parallel to each other, but I guess that is the vortex.
I will say that's very much something that each individual author has to reckon with, how time travel works, quote unquote.
Yeah, so the time travel is a success. The crew land back in 1549 and they have 72 hours to extract Matoba or kill him and return to the present. Otherwise, they will be trapped in 1549 until the next crew come to pick him up. Kashima saves a native boy who was dying and injured, and he is reprimanded by the major because they're supposed to keep their interactions with the past to a minimum. This is Tosuke, who will become important to the plot later on. I really like this young dude.
I am pretty sure that he is not just important to the plot, but he is important to the history of Japan as well.
Yeah, a bit later on, Kashima asks him a question, and he says, yes, my father is so-and-so, which I took to mean, his father is an important character. But no, it's Tosuke who will become an important leader in Japan.
Yes, the character in question was of, shall we say, disputed parentage, and that's like a big part of his legend.
I did look him up. He's the grand unifier of
yes.
shogunates.
To be honest, I worked out who he was. I'll talk about this later. I will talk about how I worked out who he was later.
Yeah, so while on a scouting mission, one of the choppers is shot down by a surface-to-air missile, and the group are ambushed by a group of samurai hiding in the long grass wearing these very primitive-looking ghillie suits.
Which was very much not a thing in 1549. Samurai did not believe in camouflage camouflage. So this is one of the reasons why it's so effective in 1549.
It's funny because they've got their armor on under the ghillie suits.
Yeah, they got the reeds popping out their helmets.
It's like, mate, you trying to fight or you trying to hide?
Although, style notes, Kashima has his military overalls on, but he is quite clearly wearing a t-shirt underneath it. I think that's just to make sure that if you didn't know, he still thinks he's a civilian. Yeah, everyone else is calling him Lieutenant Kashima, but he very much sees himself as a civilian.
I mean, when you leave the military, you take the rank with you, I'm sure, don't you? You still get saluted by, when you're, ex-generals still get saluted by. I think you get to, you usually get to style yourself as your rank, but then in brackets after your name, retired. Yeah. So the group are captured when Shichibi betrays them and sides with his old gang, who are these samurai ghillie suit wearing motherfuckers. They're taken to a castle, which is basically a small city, and it even has a gigantic oil refinery to power the futuristic machines of war. I love the way this place looks.
It looks great. I did love the styling of this kind of industrial feudal city they had going on. Right. It was a bit too clean and well designed to be like Mad Max, but there was a little bit of a Mad Max vibe to it.
Proper Dark Tower sort of thing.
Yeah.
We find out here that Colonel Matoba is now going by the name Lord Oda, and he is pretty much running things.
At this point, it's not actually announced, but the fact that they've said that Nobunaga Oda is in charge is like, shit, I see what's happened here.
Yeah, so we see a flashback to when Matoba's unit arrived in the past, and we see that during a skirmish with the natives, Matoba killed the real Lord Oda and realized who he had killed and realized the mistake he had made, so decided to replace him in history. So Matoba is Lord Oda.
Despite being about 30 years older than Nobunaga would have been at that point.
Right, okay. Oda's forces and Saito's forces enemies. Have I got that right?
At that point, they would have been rivals, but the thing which quelled the fighting between the two clans was the marriage between Nobunaga and Saito's daughter.
Which is what happens in this film, except that Lord Oda is Colonel Matoba, and he's, at this point, he's trying to course correct the timeline. He's, trying to fix things.
Well, he's trying to course correct the timeline, but also do it better than Nobunaga ever did, because Nobunaga did not actually succeed in unifying Japan. Spoiler alert. In the 1578 off the top of my head. So his campaigns kind of started when he was an adult. So at this point, he should have been about a teenager, but it was in the 1560s that he actually rose to power, marched on Kyoto, deposed the Ashikaga shogunate, and then he didn't quite unify Japan. Went a very long way to unifying Japan, but didn't quite manage it. And then one of his retainers betrayed him, forced him to commit suicide, and then burned the temple where he was staying.
So he didn't get a chance to drop a nuclear weapon into Mount Fuji then?
You'll be surprised to learn, no, he did not.
Yeah, so that is Colonel Matoba's insane plan. So he's trying to course correct the timeline that we mentioned, except he's also trying to course correct it quite far into the future. He's trying to change history so that Japan doesn't enter World War II and suffer such a humiliating defeat.
Well, I think it's not so much that. I think he would have probably been on the let's not abolish the samurai side of the Meiji Restoration in 1868. But anyway, he's very much in the Japan of the modern day has lost that warrior spirit, and now I have gone back to the warring states. I have remembered, or I have learned what the true warrior spirit is, and I am going to do everything in my power to make sure that it lasts for the 460 odd years between now and the actual 2005.
Yeah, he wants to lay the groundwork for making Japan a powerful 21st century nation. To do this, he's got a nuclear device with him, which was brought back from the future, and he wants to drop it into Mount Fuji to induce an eruption so large that it will destroy Japan as it currently is, allowing him to rebuild it with quote-unquote new souls. I don't know about you, but this is one of the maddest ideas I've ever heard in a film. This is almost like that M. Bison idea to kidnap the Queen of England and get a good exchange rate for bison dollars.
I don't know. That was at least grounded in modern-day economic thinking.
Yeah, so Matoba offers Kashima's group the chance to join him in this insane plan to rewrite Japanese history, but they protest that this will have catastrophic effects on their future / the present.
And also cause the massive black hole that's there to swallow the entire of human history.
So I guess if Matoba's plan does work, that's still not how things happened or were meant to happen. So the Earth will get swallowed up by that black hole.
Yes.
So it cannot work. I mean, it cannot work anyway because it's mad, but it just cannot work scientifically.
Well, it can't work what with the massive black hole his mere presence is causing.
We get a side plot sort of romance between Shichibi and Lord Saito's daughter, Princess Nohime, who is now married
she's usually styled as Princess No, because Hime is the word that means princess.
Yeah, so there's a side plot romance between Shishibi and Lord Saito's daughter, the princess, who is now married to Lord Oda. They have a history and likely would have got together had he not been trapped in the 21st century for 2 years on a bender playing the field.
Well, that, and it was very much a political marriage.
Yeah, what is Shichibi's, not rank, but what is his social standing? Because he is a warrior.
Yeah, so I think samurai is kind of best thought of not so much as a warrior, but as a social class of warriors, much like knights. Obviously, they're very Japanese, but the same way that knights evolved into taking on bureaucratic positions in the UK, so too did samurai. So while they were very much the knights at best sort of hand wavy way to think about it.
So it's feasible that they could get together. He's not a peasant, he's not a filthy commoner.
No, it would have been a bit strange because Saito is very much the lord of his lands, whereas Shichibe is a kind of one of his knights, and it definitely would have been more important for him to kind of diplomatically secure the position of his clan by marrying his daughter to a neighbouring lord. Let's put it this way, it was less ridiculous than her marrying Tosuke, but still unlikely.
So Matoba offers Operation Romeo their freedom, and he will allow them to return to the future if Kashima can defeat Shichibe in battle.
Can I just point out one thing about Matoba's Oda? He very much dresses and looks like Nobunaga Oda does in the kind of Japanese popular imagining, with that moustache.
Oh, does he? Yeah.
And with that haircut.
Yeah.
He
looks badass.
Yeah. Like, I saw him, I was like, oh shit, yeah, we're doing this, aren't we?
So Shichibe and Kashima have to have a sword fight, but Shichibe cannot bring himself to fight as he has seen the future, and we mentioned before, he likes it just the way it is. It's a future of peace. In his eyes, it's a future of peace. Shichibe is ordered to be executed for his traitorry, but he is saved when Tosuke, the boy from before.
It was a little bit earlier that I twigged to who Tosuke was. Yeah. The way he walks, that kind of monkey way he walks. So that's very much associated with Hideyoshi Toyotomi, as he later became known. Although when he was riding with Nobunaga, he was Hideyoshi Hashiba. Yeah,
so Tosuke interrupts by driving this commandeered tank through the walls, and shit goes crazy. He smashes down the walls, guns get passed out to the soldiers, they get armed, and there is a fight between them and Lord Oda's forces. This is where the Major buys it, because up until this point he'd just been there to argue with Kashima, but he allows
very
Kashima
much
and
loses
Kanzaki.
The argument here about whether they should use the lethal rounds. Because it's like, their guns don't hurt us, so we go down, but they don't hurt.
Yeah, so he sacrifices himself to allow Kashima and Kanzaki to escape. He goes off to fight a load of samurai, and they fill his body with arrows. He looks like Junkasai during a death match.
Yes, he does. Or if you've ever seen Throne of Blood, the Kurosawa Toshiro Mifune, I was going to call it a cover of Macbeth, but it's a remake or a retelling of the Macbeth story, but in kind of feudal Japan, and that is pretty much how not Macbeth gets it.
Yeah, so the Major's sacrifice was all in vain, because during a daring helicopter escape sequence, Kanzaki and Kashima climb the rope ladder, and Kanzaki is captured after being shot from the helicopter by a swarm of arrows which just knock her down. She has a rough landing.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, so the Romeo unit regroup and they weigh up their options. On the one hand, they want to return to the future, but it may not even exist anymore Lord because of all this fucking about may have taken its toll on the timeline.
And also, they've made it worse.
They've made it much worse.
They've made it much worse by revealing the full power of, what is it, the Heavenly Guardians. And also, they've killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, so Kashima hears Tosuke mention his father's name, which gives Kashima hope that the timeline is correcting itself. We've already established who Tosuke is. So yeah, this is where they come up with a plan to beat the bad guys, basically. Kashima gets word to Lord Oda's castle that they're going to Kyoto to rally troops and get the Emperor to invade Lord Oda's territory. And he falls for this gambit, and he sends a ton of his troops to Kyoto to kill the Emperor and Kashima and anyone else involved. He's like, right, just do it.
We're not waiting for the 1560s to depose the Ashikaga shogunate. Fuck it, I'm going to do it now. Given that I've got
this film is
a futuristic army to do it.
Yeah, well, this film is nothing if not a alternate retelling of Japanese history.
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, so while the castle is running on a skeleton crew, the Romeo unit sneak into the castle, and we see that Lord Saito, who's a bit of a weakling in this, he's a bit of a number two, bit of a type B personality. He betrays Colonel Matoba and holds him at gunpoint. He's also got a watch on. I don't know where he got that watch from or what it's meant to signify. Is he part of the rebellion, or is he just doing this because he realizes that Matoba can't beat the Emperor?
I think he realizes that Matoba's plan to blow up Mount Fuji is bug nuts. And also at this point, his daughter is making it very clear that she does not want to marry Nobunaga Oda. I think she is married at this point.
Like Saito says something like, "Why would I believe in a man who can't please my daughter?" It's like, fucking hell, dude, that's a bit weird.
That may have lost something in translation there.
Yeah, so Saito's got Matoba held at gunpoint, but Matoba is quicker on the draw and shoots him first, sending him tumbling out the room. Not to his death, though, because later on we find out that Lord Saito is actually wearing a bulletproof vest.
Yes, he's back. I think he gets shot again later on, and he's like, saved by my excellent bulletproof vest. Which I'm pretty sure is almost the exact same word used in Battle Royale.
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I've certainly quoted Battle Royale. I can't remember exactly what he said, but that's what I was thinking. As I was expecting someone to show up with a machine gun to gun him down.
I just remember thinking about that scene in Battle Royale where Beat Takeshi revives after being shot to death. Like sits on the couch.
Yeah, answers the phone, doesn't like the conversation he's having with his daughter, and then shoots his phone, then finally dies. One of cinema's great drawn-out deaths, up there with the death of Boromir.
I would argue one of cinema's greatest comedy moments. Yeah, so a bunch of plastic explosive is detonated around the castle, destroying the oil foundry, and it causes the shit to hit the fan. Helicopter gets shot down and crashes into the towers. This is like the fall of Mordor. Whole thing's like going to shit. Tosuke storms the castle in an APC, and he's accompanied by what are basically the 1549 equivalent of the police. He has a warrant for the arrest of Lord Oda, and this brings the battle to an end. The Lord Oda's soldiers comply with the law. They're like, yeah, okay, fine. If the Emperor wants him, then who are we to say no? So Kashima and Matoba get into a sword fight, with Matoba gaining the advantage, and he pauses halfway through to activate the nuke and lower it down into the mine shaft. I don't think they're on Mount Fuji though, so what's he doing with this nuke? Does he just realise that the game is up, so he's just going to blow shit up?
I think the plan was, although he's not on Mount Fuji, his plan was to drill it deep enough into the volcano, the active part of the volcano, to make the volcano. I don't think it's a nuclear bomb. I think it's just a very big bomb.
It's like a jerry-rigged, like, MacGyver together nuke.
Big bomb is what it is, and he's going to use it to blow up the base of the volcano and cause needless death and destruction.
Yeah, shift the tectonic plate or something. Wikipedia describes him now using a battery from the magnetic shield as a kit-bashed nuclear device. He plans to make Mount Fuji erupt, thereby eradicating the Kansai region and establishing himself as the supreme shogun. So, is it something that he's taken from the guys that have arrived Operation Romeo? I guess he didn't have this all the time.
No, because he couldn't have drilled this hole in the time where Operation Romeo was there.
Oh, that's true, yeah. He hasn't exactly got a power drill to get down there. This must have taken. He's done quite well for 2 years.
Well, I think being a lord with rifles, you can put the peasants to work a bit easier.
So anyway, as the nuke is about to be dropped into the mine shaft, Kashima gets his opportunity and he's able to kill Matoba with a running sword stab. Matoba then dies in Kashima's arms. Is this how the real Lord Oda... No, this isn't how the real Lord Oda died. You've already said how he died, didn't you?
Yes, he was actually forced to commit suicide by his treacherous retainer. Yeah,
that's it.
I will say that I think the choice of the 1549 date, let's put it this way, doing it in 1549 presents them with an obvious way to repair the timeline afterwards, but I think that setting it in 1589 or whatever it was when Nobunaga actually died might have been a better shout, because there was also a big fire at the temple. But yeah, you know what? Do what you want. Do what you want. I'm not going to argue.
They certainly are. So Kashima and Kanzuke take the nuke with them back to the 21st century, hoping that the electromagnetic nature of time travel will disable it. The entire foundry and castle explodes and melts down as they escape back to the site in the chopper. So they say their goodbyes to Shichibi, the princess, and Lord Saito, who have all survived this battle.
And crucially,
basically just wave them off. And Tosuke, yeah, who is going to be the man.
Well, I've got a theory about this.
Okay.
I've got no evidence from the film to support this theory, but I believe that Shichibei took on the name, or is certainly implied to have took on the name Nobunaga Oda, and rode off
what I was thinking.
With Nobunaga's wife and Nobunaga's number one lieutenant and future successor
to go continue time as it should have been, because while I think Shichibei was a little bit older than Nobunaga should have been at that point, he's probably close enough for rock and roll.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So he fixes the timeline. So Shichibei is now Lord Oda, and then he can die in the actual
Honoji
the real
instant.
Lord Oda did. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because we'll just get to the end of the film now. So the Romeo unit fly off back into the chronosphere, and they arrive back in the present day. The nuke has been disabled. I think there's 7 seconds left on it or something like that. The entire army greet and salute them, run up to them cheering, and the film ends there. So we don't see any of the adverse effects of all that crap that's gone down in the past on the future, on the present now. Because the timeline corrected itself. I've written here the timeline corrected itself with Tosuke's survival, but I guess that makes sense about Shichibei, Lord Saito, and the princess now, So that does make sense. That wraps it up quite neatly.
Well, hey, I'm hoping that all this was deliberate and not just me trying to impose some will and fix the timeline myself.
No, I actually think that works, and I think that's what they were going for. And that is the end of the film. What did you think of this one?
I got absolutely no idea. It was just a weird film.
Thumbs up, thumbs down?
Let's go ever so slightly up. It was entertaining. The fights were good. I liked some of the weird little details, like when they're having the gunfight with the helicopter, there's always bullet casings falling. And, they made Matoba look like Nobunaga in a way that even I recognized who he was supposed to be before he got introduced. I did like the style of the modern feudal base he had set up.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
Yeah, cheesy as it was, I did like those feudal ghillie suits as well.
They were ridiculous.
It made me laugh. I thought, actually, that's really clever that he's brought kind of modern thinking on camouflage to the past to help him win wars, which is the sort of thing that, as you say, a sort of Kurtz would have done. So I like that stuff, but also it was dumb as shit.
It was dumb as shit. I'm glad it played the whole thing straight. There could have been a lot of nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Isn't this film ridiculous? But they were going in all seriousness, and I found it to be quite deep. I liked the bits with Shichibei talking about the world and the nature of the universe. I thought it was quite interesting.
And then sort of
the action was great.
How he might have felt with the kind of feudal Japanese samurai's conception of duty.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot deeper than I was expecting. Also, a 2-hour runtime. This absolutely flew past for me. There was nothing wasted in this. That was brilliant.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I think I did enjoy it, but the final word was it was dumb as shit. Not as dumb as it sounds from the premise. They've put a lot of thought into it being this dumb.
So thank you everybody for listening to Dark Talk. We'll see you next time. Goodbye and good night.
Bang!